In today's video, I'm going over the brand new Turtle Beach Recon wired controller. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so we're going to talk about some of the key features and the pros on this controller. So let's hop into it, look at the controller, starting from the outside of the controller. As you can see, there are some rubber grips on this controller, which are cool to the touch, which is pretty cool because that means if you're fat and big and sweaty like me, your hands are cool when you grab the controller. Now, of course, eventually this is gonna fade away when your body temperature transferred to it. But when you lay the controller down for a few minutes and pick it back up, it's right back there ready to go. Perfect coolness for a few minutes anyways. Another thing is these joysticks on these controllers are your normal typical size joysticks on the Xbox controller itself. And as if you haven't been able to tell, Turtle Beach quite literally modeled their make and look of the original Xbox controller. The next thing on this controller this thing has is the Xbox share button. Now that should be pretty obvious since this is a next-gen console controller. All your controllers today are going to come stock with these for the Xbox Series S and the Series X. If I didn't mention before, this is also cross-platform compatible with PC and your older Xboxes. If it's USB play and plug and ready to go. No software to download, no anything. It's good to go, plug it in, get your game on. One of my favorite features on this controller are the triggers. The triggers themselves. As you can see here, the triggers have a gripper, almost like sandpaper on the triggers themselves. I like this because it just lets me know I'm on the trigger. There's no chance of me slipping off or anything like that. And while we're talking about triggers and stuff and the texturized buttons that's on, let's talk about the buttons on the back. These buttons have the same thing. One's for the left button, one's a right button. They call them P1 and P1, PP. But these are also have the same thing on them. I like it because when I'm playing a controller, playing a game, I don't have to guess if I'm hitting the button underneath now. I can feel it. I know what the texture feels like, and I'm good to go. This also has your normal X, Y, B, and A buttons on the controller as normal. Nothing to see there. And your standard buttons and your Xbox button in the middle. Let's get into the key features and the most important thing about this controller. To do this, I'm gonna have to plug in a headset to bring up the menu on the controller itself. So any 3.5 millimeter jack, that's correct, any 3.5 millimeter jack. It does not have to be a Turtle Beach headset. And some of the old ones, I was reading about said they had to be a certain style headset or something like this. If it's a 3.5 millimeter jack, then you're good to go. We're gonna slap it on just as if I was gaming. Let's go. Anyways, so let's hop right into the key features on this controller and why we're really here to look at the controller. So your first one right here is your volume. This controls your volume in your game. The second button here I'm gonna press is your superhuman hearing mode. That's right, superhuman hearing mode. This controller gives your headset the capability to have superhuman hearing mode, as long as some other things I'm gonna talk about in a second. But what I wanna talk about first is how is that possible? Well, this controller comes with an amplifier that sends signals and boosts your headset up to make it a better headset. This is cool because what happens is you can buy any kind of headset and your headset's gonna immediately become better if you plug it in this controller. Say you have a headset that you wear like this, it trashes out, but you have a pair of earbuds sitting around, you could throw those in for the time being until you get yourself another headset and you're good to go because it's gonna make the sound quality crisp, clear, and good. It's great, trust me, it works. I've been using it, it's awesome. Let's hop into another one. So if I hit mode, you see this pops up. This is your mic monitoring mode, and this is simply just if you want to hear yourself talk through the headset and all that, you can do that. There's actually 4 levels to this other than off. So if you hit select, one of the buttons right here, the lights come on, and what that does, that means you're on like the lowest setting. If you hit it again, 2 lights come on, and so forth. So you got 1 through 4 settings. I know this works because when I was testing the headset out, I thought someone I was playing with, a random, was having all kind of background noise and stuff. To come to find out, when I got out of the game, I figured the buttons out and turned it off. It was my fan and everything else around me coming through back into my headset. So it works very, very well. Let's go to the next one. So The next thing is EQ. Yeah, EQ. This thing has 4 presets built into it, so you can just select a preset and you are good to go. The first preset is when you go to EQ, same concept, the little lights up top. You click the first one, it's the signature sound by Turtle Beach. This is by far my favorite one. This is what I recommend. This is what I use. The second one is your bass boost. So the second one would be your bass boost, your third one would be your treble and bass boost, and then your fourth one will be your chat boost, which is like for commentaries and games and stuff like that, and just making me able to hear people better talking. So that is pretty cool that this comes standard with 4 presets and equalizer. Let's move on to the next thing, which is your little controller icon right here. This is simply just to program the buttons on the back. There's 4 profiles. That means you can change the buttons on the back 4 different times and actually set them up to where you can just change the profile game to game. So if you like a jump and a reload on the bottom, or an e-brake and it's a different action button on the bottom for a different game, you can set them up individually for different profiles, and you got 4 of them to pick from 4 different times, and you can just pick whatever one you want for a game. That's pretty cool. Last but not least is Pro Aim. What's Pro Aim? Glad you asked, because I didn't know what it was either. Pro Aim is the second button on the bottom right here, this left button. If you tap that while it's in this mode, what happens is when you're ADSing, aiming down sights, it slows your movement down on your right joystick. You can turn this off, turn it on in the middle of a game and stuff. If you're into that, that works out very well. And again, as always, if you have it on, you can go and set it up to different levels of sensitivity. Now, this is a really good concept. I like it. The only thing is the games I usually play has a ADS sensitivity level in the settings itself. Therefore, I don't really need this setting on the controller. Hence, therefore, I feel like they could have probably did something else with it, spent the money somewhere else, maybe gave us mechanical buttons for the X, Y, B, and A, since we only have 2 extra buttons underneath. And again, that's what I used both buttons for. You could change the button that is for the Pro Aim and make it just an action button. That's what I did. I was playing with 2 action buttons for a little while after I messed around with the Pro Aim. But with that being said, this is your chat volume at the very end. That's last but not least, and this just simply turns your chat up and down. It will also control the game volume. If you turn it up, your chat up, it'll turn the game volume down just a little bit. So the only cons on this controller are really 2 in my opinion, which are the joysticks. I feel like the joysticks are really small, especially since I've been spoiled by the Razer Tournament Edition controller. Those joysticks are nice and fat. It makes my aim more precise on first-person shooters, and I just prefer those over the normal style joysticks. Now, you can buy some like Control Freaks or something like that and slap them on there to make that controller, you know, the thumbstick's a little bit bigger, but that's just a little bit of a con. And the only other con I have of this is this ugly satellite dish of a D-pad. They could have did something differently there. It's just cosmetic. Really, this controller for $60 is a killer deal. Now, should you buy it? You would think just because I said that, you should run out and buy this controller. If you run with a wireless headset and you like a pro controller with multiple buttons on it, this controller is not for you. I say that because you're buying this controller for all the multi-features for the headset. You can't use it for wireless, so there's really no point of buying the $60 controller, which you can buy the Fusion Pro 1 that has 4 paddles on the bottom of it for $60, or the Spectrum for $40, and those are really good controllers you can buy. Now, if you have a wired headset, buy this thing all day long. I think with the features you get on this controller, with the 2 extra buttons and the presets with the equalizer, the superhuman hearing mode, you know, everything you get, I don't see how you wouldn't buy this controller for your headset, your wired headset, especially if you have a cheap wired headset like this. This turns this into like a next tier of headsets, I feel like, because of the features this controller has. So, wireless headset user? Probably not. Wired headset user, 10 out of 10 times, $60. Again, if you didn't know this before, Turtle Beach, this is their first controller they ever built, ever made. Are there things they could probably improve on, cosmetic and all that stuff? Yes, sure. You're gonna find that in pretty much any controller, and that's just me being nitpicky. But for a first controller ever, man, I feel like they knocked this thing out of the park. And a price that is competitive to a regular Xbox controller. You can't, you can buy the controller I was showing earlier, the Ray one's like 60 bucks when I bought it. This controller is 60 bucks. So even if I have the wireless headset and I need a new controller right on the rip, I'm gonna go buy this every single time because I'd rather spend the 10 extra bucks if it is a $50 controller and this is 60 and get 2 extra buttons, and the possibility if one of my wireless headset goes bad one day, you never know, it just craps out and I have this sitting around the house, I can plug this in and have a good experience. So with all that being said, guys, if you enjoy this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. I'm gonna leave a link for this controller in the description. It is an affiliate link. Guys, don't be scared of affiliate links. All that means is it helps me to be able to help put content like this out for free. It doesn't cost you any more money. And honestly, this is my first time mentioning this because I just got affiliated by Amazon. So I'm super excited. If you really would, I'd really appreciate it if you do it. If not, no biggie. I still love y'all anyways. Every comment about this controller is gonna get a like because I like you. And check out one of my other videos I'm gonna post right here. And as always, guys, be safe. Until next time, later.